So last class we have started with the CRUD operation in Spring MVC, right?
Yeah.
So before that, again, I want you to remind like we have seen the flow UI to controller, controller to service, service to DAO, and DAO to database. So look at this
Yeah.
flow. Index.jsp is your UI. So UI is hitting this URL pattern called get all countries, which is reaching to the controller. Now controller is having a URL pattern matching for get all countries. It is going to the service layer. In line number 26, what we are doing, we are going to the service layer, get all countries. And service layer is going to the DAO layer. Go to DAO layer. And finally, DAO layer is bringing the data from database. So this is the flow I have told you in the beginning. And in 90% case of any web application, this is the typical flow. So pretty simple what we are doing here, get all countries. In Hibernate, you remember there is a session, and in session there is a method called create query. So if you just tell the Pojo class name from country, it will bring the all list of country to you. And same list of country, again, we are sending back to the service layer. This service layer is returning back to the controller, and controller is now what doing? It is putting that country object into the model and model object. You can see that attribute country. One is the empty country object, and second is the list of countries object. What is the view we are sending? That is here, you know, country details. So if you go to this web-inf views, you will be able to see the final display page, which is country details.jsp. What exactly we are
Right.
doing? In JSP, there's something called JSTL, JSP tag library. This TL stands for tag library. So when
Yeah.
JavaScript was not popular, there was no Angular, React kinds of framework. Then people used to take advantage of this JSTL to write, business logic in JSP. So anyway, this is purely the CSS. So let's minimize this. Now here is your body. You remember the form I told you in the servlet itself. So form is having the options where you can pass the method type and the model attribute. So model attribute is again one of the Spring MVC features where what we are doing is we are defining our URL pattern. This is the action part. So I'm saying in this application, add country is the one. If I click on this submit button, it will be going to the add country. What data we are sending to the add country? The country name and the
Mhm.
population. In fact, in form, you also have an option what will be the maximum size, what will be the maximum length. These all validation also you can put here. But here at the end, what I'm doing, I'm clicking on submit. The moment I will click on submit, the country name and the population is going to this URL pattern, which is slash add country. Come to the controller.java. What exactly it is doing? Add country. It
Right.
is a post call. So post call means whatever data is coming from UI, it is directly going to be stored in the country object. This is the another beauty of Spring MVC. Try understanding. In the previous example, in the servlet, I shown you that whenever you are getting any data, usually you are calling the request.get parameter. Yes or no? Request.get parameter to get the value. In fact, in the hello MVC also you have seen when data came to the controller layer, how we were fetching the data? Hello controller like this. Request.get parameter, something like this. Yeah, request.get parameter to get the data. Again for password, request.get password. So this is the typical way from where you can take a data from request into your class level. But things has been changed in the controller or Spring MVC. Spring MVC has introduced one annotation called at the rate of modal attribute. Now this modal attribute is saying You don't need to go request.get parameter name, request.get parameter country, request.get parameter population. Rather than, what I will do, the moment you will put inside your UI this modal attribute, that's all.
Okay.
Automatically, I will bind these two property with your country class. So basically, UI to class binding is happening with the help of this modal attribute. And this is very much beauty part. So in the controller, now you don't need to go and check request.get parameter country, request.get parameter population. Rather than, you just put at the rate of modal attribute here. Whatever class is responsible for that data, put that class name. Automatically, Spring will call the setters method of this country class. Go to the country class. You must have a country, set ID, set country name, set population. So automatically your controller will call this setters method with the data which is coming from UI. How this magic is happening? Based upon the at the rate of modal attribute. What configuration we have added? One annotation here, and in your view, just put attribute, modal attribute, and your property name. So
Okay.
lots of things has been changing in Spring MVC. So people don't need to go. If this model attribute were not there, then what we need to do? We have to define at the rate of request HTTP HTTP request here, HTTP response here. Then after request dot get country, get parameter, country pass, country name. So that's the old way. Now what exactly this add country is doing? Pretty simple. If country ID is equal to 0, it means it is going to add country, and then after it is going to save that data. How? Let's go to the service layer. It is pretty simple. Going to the DAO layer, going to the add country, and finally there is a persist method. In Hibernate, there is a session.persist which will save your country object. So if you save your country object, it means internally one insert query has been composed and it is going to put into your database. So this is the add country wala part. Now, next is the list of country. So whatever data your controller is sending from here, you can see list of countries, it is coming to be displayed here. So what I'm doing, I'm just checking each country list is not empty, then go to create a table, and that table is going to have a header value ID, country name, population, edit and delete. These are the two operation also we are giving along with that table. So one column ID, one column country name, one column population, and two columns for edit and delete. Now, list of countries I am, with the help of for each loop, one result I am taking and displaying over into the grid. So tabular view is also known as grid view. So in my UI, if you look at that, we are going to get one grid here. Can you see that? ID, country name, population, edit and delete.
Okay.
So this code is going to be designed with the help of this particular piece of code. So in JSP, people used to do like this, but in the world of Angular and the React, things has been changed. But right now, you just understand like this only. So three data, two operations. These edit and delete button, it's a button actually. So for this, what I'm doing is I'm calling the update country. The moment you're clicking on edit, it's calling the update country. And what it is passing there? Country ID. So let's come to the update country URL and see what's happening. If you come to the controller, then you will be seeing that update country here, right? And whatever ID you are passing, it is also capturing that. There is another annotation called at the rate of path variable. So if you put that at the rate of path variable, then whatever ID you are passing from UI, that ID will be automatically stored here. Okay. So
Okay.
now what we have is we have a ID. Now For updating purpose, definitely you need a ID because you want to selectively update a particular country. So for that purpose, again, I'm going to the service layer and I'm saying, hey, service layer, I want this particular country. In Hibernate way, there is a get method. This get method will go and bring that particular record for you. So one row has been given to the controller. Controller got a country object. Now, what I am doing in this country object is whatever new values are there, I am going to update that. So, new values, 1 second, date country, get country, this dot get country ID, fine, you got it. See, there is slight twist. The moment you hit the update country, what I am doing, I'm bringing that country object and sending back to the UI. Now, what UI is doing with this updated value, it is populating this section. So, see the UI, then you will understand. The moment I'm clicking on edit, you will see this form is going to be automatically filled up. Can you see that? India and 123. So, update is doing what? It is simply bringing that particular record and displaying over into the add attribute form. So that's the reason this condition is there. If get ID is 0, it means this is the brand new country. If get ID is not 0, it means what? It is just a existing record, right? So that's the reason update country is here. See, if you go to update country, now it is a update query. In Hibernate, there is something called save or update. So I'm calling the update record. So it's gonna be updating that country details. Similarly, for delete country, pretty simple. Going to the service layer, passing the delete ID, and delete ID is again going to the DAO layer. DAO is going to just call the delete. There is something called load method. First we are loading, and if it is not null, then I'm deleting that particular country. So pretty simple, guys. If you understand this flow, trust me, nothing is complex. If you know Hibernate, if you know the request and response things are much clear here. So in controller, simple things are there. Delete is just getting the ID, calling the service to DAO, and deleting the all countries. Finally, in all case, if you see, once operation is success, there is an option called redirect to the get all countries. So every time if you do any operation here, let's say, then automatically this grid is going to be refreshed. Can you see that? If you add a new country and click on submit, immediately the records are displaying over here. Why it is happening? Because in every operations at the end, I am again calling the get all countries. Again calling the get all countries. So whatever operation is happening, after that I'm calling get all countries, and that get all countries is populating this country list table. So this is how the flow is. Model, today you understand two more annotation. One is at the rate of path variable. Whenever you are getting the any value as a query string, this is known as query string. Somebody is passing the data like this, slash the particular value. This is called path variable or query string also. So that value you can take with this annotation. Second, you have seen that at the rate of modal attribute, which is directly binding the UI component with your Pojo class. So that's the two things. Other are pretty simple. Modal and view we have seen last class also in the MVC. So configuration side, little bit change because we are using the Hibernate. So we have to create a beans related to Hibernate. As you know that we have a view resolver. This bean is because we are putting the JSP files under this wave-inf folder. Data source, yes, it's required because we are using JDBC internally. This bin is required because we are using the ORM. And finally, transaction is required. If anything wrong, then we need to roll back. If everything is correct, then it's supposed to be committed. So these are the things we have to put under this part. An application or context probably we don't need. It's simply sitting. Ignore this. So
Okay.
since we don't have anything here, so remove this. In web.xml file, probably you don't need this or listener. Let me restart it and see things are working fine or as expected. Right click on this, run as Maven clean. So first things we always have to do is Maven clean. Then after right click, run as Maven install. Cool. Now run the index.jsp. Refresh this page. Yep, it's working fine. So pretty simple, nothing guys. Web.xml, I told you dispatcher servlet supposed to be there. Then one
Hmm.
XML file also we have to create for a part of Spring MVC and all the related beans. And finally the flow, controller to service, service to DAO layer. It's pure a business logic. If you
Right.
navigate from one class to another class, you can easily get it. It's pure core Java. Nothing the
Right.
Spring MVC or something like that. Okay. But at the end, even though you didn't get 100% of this example, nothing to worry. It's gone. You don't need to do lots of things here now. We are in the world of
Right.
Spring Boot. But I will highly recommend you, please focus here. Please try
Hmm.
understanding the flow, get some confidence. And what I want you to do under this project as a homework, if you look at this, we have a add country and country list,
Right.
right? The two
Right.
things I want you to do here, one is, it's a pure CRUD. So CRUD operation has been completed.
Correct. Hmm.
Similarly, I want you to design here or down, add employee. So similar
Okay.
stuffs. For we are doing with country, I want you to change the existing code to add a employee. For example, what I will do first. Sorry. So here I will copy this part, first and most important things, and under this body I will paste it. There is almost 80% copy and paste. Instead of country, I will put employee.
Employee.
Method post here, instead of add country, I will make a URL, add employee. See how the things are happening. Add employee. Country name ke badle, it should be
Employee.
employee name.
Yeah.
Here also employee name, employee name itself. Population ke badle, what else you can add here? Employee name,
Employee.
username, ठीक है? So username, give the same thing here also, and add some more property, one more row. This gonna be password, password, and if you want, you can keep on adding the mobile number, whatever, in the same fashion, right? and the
Yeah.
button should be add employee. See, and the only thing I have changed here is the country has been changed to the employee. Let's come to the UI and just refresh it. What is wrong? Add employee, add employee, add employee. This form, this form. भूल गया तो इसमें connect है. Okay, so this UI is linked up with the one of the class, and that's the reason it is failing. So first and important things what we need to do is we just need to create one class here, like country class. Let's create employee class. Okay, and this class is going to have private int id and then private string employee name, then username. Remember the spelling supposed to be same what you have put under the password. Okay, these are the fields we have here: employee name, username, password. Okay,
Yeah.
and this is the employee. So what it will do, basically it will go to your employee class and check whether all fields are there or not. So that's the reason might be it was failing. Now we have things like this. So right click, generate source, generate getters and setters method, select all, generate. Still it is line number 90. It is saying an exception occurred, add country details at line number 90. What is in line number 90? Oh, form hidden path ID. Why it is so? Uh, uh, uh. Form hidden path equal to ID. We have ID here. Okay. In the add controller, country services there, that's fine. Get country by ID and let's duplicate this method and it's gonna be add employee. What is the URL we have given? Add employee. Keep this add employee here. You just need to follow what I have did there. And similarly, modal attribute supposed to be changed according to this. This is nothing but employee class, employee dot get ID, and then we need to change this to method also. And finally, okay, country details dot .jsp slash, this looks fine, id. It's restarted. The server encountered, okay. See, this is the problem with Spring Boot. People, Spring MVC basically.
MVC.
Errors were
Yeah.
not. It's saying neither binding result for plain target object for your as request attribute. Neither binding result. But we have a binding result. Oh, I see. We have not saved it or what? Neither binding result nor. Okay. Hold on for a second. So under this controller, hmm, now I got it. This was the problem, I think. Employee, new employee. It was expecting one empty employee object basically.
Okay.
Mhm. Hey, you see that?
Yeah.
So as a part of this landing page, it was expecting one employee object, empty employee object, so that the
Okay.
JSP
Okay.
can fetch this employee name, username, password, all these details. So like this
Okay.
way, you can keep on adding this data, guys. In fact, you
Yeah.
can create a separate JSP, separate controller, separate DAO, separate service. All the things you can keep separate. Okay,
Yes.
just key. It's a homework. You please complete it because it's having a combination of everything: IOC, ORM, MVC, database. So if you work on this, no, you will get a lot of confidence. If you are not able to do that, then what I will do in a class, I will continue with this. But put your effort. It's pretty simple. You just need to understand the
Okay.
existing code and do the same stuff. Even though you're not understanding it, it's fine. We can work on that later. But trust me, when you work and you will get exception, you will try fixing that. You will try understanding that. For example, whatever exception we were getting, if I gonna Google it, then immediately I'm gonna get a response saying that, hey, you need to pass on empty employee object. So
Right.
currently what I'm
Yeah.
doing as a part of this get all countries itself, I'm going to send this. But that's not the case now. The case supposed to be, the case supposed to be get all countries. Yeah. So here should be one more get employee, right? And that
Yeah.
employee is going to have this. And similar like a get all countries, you're gonna have a get all employee, and that
Right.
URL will bring this empty employee object. Think about that your design. But I want similar stuff with the employee. Okay.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Sir, it's not a problem if we don't remember the logic 100%, because I still need to check the code to be able to add more.
I'm sorry, son, I
Uh,
didn't get you. What you're saying?
it's not a problem that for the moment I understand the code, but I'm not yet able to remember the order of the logic.
Okay. So you're saying
So
when Mhm.
it's not a problem if for the moment we can just go to the code and copy it and do it
Yeah, yeah,
without uh, without remembering uh, all the order. Like step one, add Hibernate. Step two, do this. Step three, do this.
yeah. So that's the way, see, no one can be a perfect at one time. I totally understand people cannot remember all these things. But if you know the steps, for example, if I
Mhm,
create a brand new object in MVC here, so whatever steps you're saying, adding the dependencies, all these things. But before going to that fresh project, always, even in the industry, people used to give you the existing project. So play around
mhm,
that. They will ask you to
mhm.
change something in the existing projects. So if you play with all code, you will be very friendly with this. You will understand control. Now you at least know controller is having what kind of code,
Yes.
what is service layer, what is DAO layer, what is view, what is
Mhm,
configuration. So once you
mhm,
understand all this part, then try changing that. For example, if I go, I given you the very what I can say,
mhm,
separate module to be created. But
mhm,
what if I gonna tell you that, hey, under the country along with the population, add the one more country uh, region or country economy, something like one more field here. So start with
mhm,
that and see how it's going to be. So if I ask you to add one country economy, then what you have to do, you have to immediately add one more column here, economy.
mhm.
Then you have to go to your country class, add one more properties, economy. And I think that's all. That's
Mhm.
all.
For, mhm. So for the moment, it's okay to not remember all the steps. Just try to play with it and add.
Yeah, yeah. No
Okay.
need to remember all the steps.
Mhm, okay.
Okay. And you have a video
Mhm,
always with you, which is saying you the what are the beginning steps. But
mhm,
it's always important to play with the existing code. So whatever example it's there, it's sitting in my Git repo. You just clone it in your system, or you can start doing so.
okay. Thank you.
So okay, we can do one more thing. Tomorrow class, any of you will be doing this task in the class itself. So you're
Mhm,
gonna share your screen, and
Okay.
based upon that, I will guide you. You have to proceed, and I will guide you.
so, sounds perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So the practice will be
Yes.
in the class itself
Mhm,
Right.
sounds
rather
perfect.
than as a homework. Make
Mhm.
sense?
Yes, makes
Yeah.
sense.
So
Thank you.
both of you are gonna work together, but one of you are sharing the screen, and whenever you're getting problem, I will be there to helping out what is the problem, and you're gonna
Mhm.
fix that problem by yourself. Is that sounds perfect?
Uh,
Yes,
Yeah.
sounds
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you.
And then we'll see what are the challenges you guys are facing when you are practicing on the homework. Okay, so the same thing. Today class, at least you go and refer this. Whatever you can do, no problem. But tomorrow class, when I will be coming with you, you are going to share the screen and we will be developing and practicing in the class with the same employee wala part. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
And I need to start now Spring Boot, and that's a fresh restart. I can see Vasavi is not there. So if I start Spring Boot, you will be missing a lot of content. And even because of fasting, I'm feeling quite harassment. So today class I'm finding here
Yeah.
itself because the timing is also going to be, end for
Yeah.
this session, Zoom session. So you
Okay.
guys put effort. There is no point going forward directly without having the proper confidence for whatever we learn.
Yes.
And this example is the perfect real-time example where you have all the modules together. So if you have a
Right.
confidence on this, you can say that I know a Spring framework
Correct.
properly. Got it or not? So just
Yes.
Yes.
play around with this example, even though you have a time. I'm I'm telling with this class time itself, you please practice this. Okay.
Sure. Sure.
And see you tomorrow then.
Yes.
Okay.
See you
Thank you so
tomorrow.
much.
Have a good day.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Good day. Bye bye.